there's a hotel, now it's called the Westin on Elgin O'Hare. We've always wanted to do a 3-day over there because I used to be a server at the steakhouse over there, right? And it's interesting because from 2002 to 2008 in Chicago, I sold real estate. In 2008, I started investing. And in 2019, my parents were at a 3-day, right? And because a lot of times, even your parents, they see you where you were rather than where you've come, right? And they literally had to come to the 3-day to realize that I'm not the same kid that I started out, right? And it was the funniest thing because we're driving downtown to the Rolls-Royce dealership, and I was like, hey, let me show you guys something. So we're driving through Berwyn, Lyons, a lot of these towns. And every other house on these streets, I'm like, we own that one, we own that one, we own that one, we own that one, right? She's like, my mom said something, she's like, you buy a house like they're donuts. I'm like, Mom, at least in a donut shop, you have to make a choice. It's more difficult. With houses, I know the numbers, so for me to buy 200, 300, 400 houses, it's not that big a deal, right? And it was the funniest thing because there was a white Continental GT, a Bentley Continental GT, and my dad picked it out. And I wanted to do, in 2020, just before Corona happened, I always wanted to give him that GT in front of everybody. Because for me, like they had everything, right? It's not like, for themselves, they had done well. Yet, for me to be able to do that for them, and he said the funniest thing, he's like, what does something like this cost? I'm like, about $260,000, right? $270,000. And he's like, oh, that's not bad. I'm like, Dad, do you understand how much an average person in America makes today, right? Like my dad had no relation of what money is, right? Because he never focused on it. They never, even after they passed away, we realized the 2 places where they had money was 2 houses that they had bought, right? Here are people who were supposed to be high-income earners. At the end of the day, they really had nothing to show for it except 2 houses, right, that they had bought, that we sold. But it was interesting because real estate is what got me there. Like I was the kid that was like, oh, one day I'm going to buy an airplane, right? And I took my parents on the airplane, and they're like, well, what does something like this cost? I'm like, Mom, it really doesn't matter because the houses pay for it, right? It's not about, and I say all of those things to say this, that it really doesn't matter where you are, right? What all it matters is where you're trying to go. Real estate is just a medium. That's all real estate is, right? This is not the end-all, be-all. This is a vehicle, and I hated absolutely that feeling that I had with the gas station, that feeling that I had when I was selling real estate, which every single day I was scared because I'm like, tomorrow the market will change, tomorrow this will happen, tomorrow that will happen. And it's not that I wasn't making money. It's what I hated the feeling was that tomorrow something that I did not even do can change my entire destiny, right? And I hate that feeling. And what I always wanted was enough cash flow where I would have 3, 4, 5,000 coming in a month. So I would have peace of mind, right? Whenever people say, a lot of times they're like, why don't you put so much debt on this? I'm like, listen, man, I've tried being poor. It sucks. Right? It sucks when a major decision in your life is, can I get a set of 4 tires, right? I mean, the most exciting thing for me is if I can buy, the other day we had to change the tire on the Bentley. He's like, man, all the tires are bad. I'm like, just change them. He's like, yeah, but do you want to change them all? I'm like, dude, change them all, my credit card will go through. Because there was a time when my credit card for a $1,000 transaction would get stuck, right? And he's like, you're the happiest guy about changing tires. He's like, why would you want to spend 2, 3 grand? I'm like, dude, because at one time in my life, I couldn't do it. He's like, Andrew, I haven't seen you this happy buying the Bentley. I was like, I wasn't this happy buying the Bentley. I just did it because I had a goal. Now changing the tires, my credit card will go through for all the goddamn tires in the shop, right? Because the small things is where the security comes from. It's not from the big bullshit. Big bullshit is what everybody sees, right? But it's the small things.